listening to the Embrace the Mud podcast, where we discuss all things related to healthy, joyful, and life-giving relationships. Why focus on relationships? Because the quality of our intimate partnerships and close connections influences our health, happiness, and longevity more than anything else in our lives. Relationships matter a lot, so together, let's jump into the mud, aka our messy relationships, pull some weeds, plant some seeds, and create an enriching environment where strong relationships can take root. I am your grateful host, Dara Posner. I am a relational disaster working toward relational mastery. I am also a positive psychology coach, a relational mindset coach, a blogger, and now a podcaster. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Embrace the Mud podcast, where we discuss all things related to healthy, joyful, life-giving relationships. If you are a fan of this podcast, please subscribe, follow, like, review, and share. Your engagement in this way is crucial to the success of the podcast, and I appreciate you taking just a few seconds to support my mission, which is to help people like you flourish in life and love. Today on the Embrace the Mud podcast, we are picking things back up with our series, Real Relationship Wisdom, where I am sharing with you some golden nuggets of wisdom that I have picked up from one of my favorite and most trusted marriage experts in the world, Dr. Terry Real. The concept I'm going to share with you today is probably my favorite thing that I have learned from him, and it is called loving power. He sometimes also refers to it as soft power. That's our topic for today, so let's dive in. All right, guys, so loving power, what is it and how do you practice it? And also, why should you practice it? That's what I'm excited to talk to you guys about today. So when I think of loving power as a relational concept, for me, I consider it a guardrail concept. And what I mean by that is this is just one of those concepts that if you can, mindfully employ it in your communications and your relationship and how you think about your relationship, it will protect you from falling into behaviors or patterns of behavior that poison your relationship by eroding the sense of trust and safety that you have between you. Really, really important. So that's why for me, this is one of my favorite concepts because I just feel, it has such a powerful protection aspect to it, and it's why it's the first thing that I want to talk to you about when it comes to really operating relationally. And so the idea here is that we want to have a balance of love or softness and power in the way in which we engage with our partners in our relationships. If you think about the behaviors that I was talking about earlier, the ones that erode trust, the ones that create a lack of safety in the relationship, what I notice when I kind of look at what all of those potential behaviors are, they either represent leaning too far in the loving direction and not having enough power, or they are behaviors that you might demonstrate when you are leaning too far into the power side of things and not bringing enough love and softness into it. So for example, I'm going to list off just a few what I would consider negative behaviors that do not foster a sense of deep connection, trust, and safety in a relationship. So on the one hand, you can have behaviors like people pleasing, conflict avoidance, not enforcing boundaries, being a saver or an enabler, minimizing your own feelings, or walking on eggshells. These behaviors exhibit a lack of balance between love and power in the love direction, right? They're fear-based. They are very much about not wanting to rock the boat, not wanting to create conflict, kind of keeping the peace, right? Which peace is important, right? And keeping things calm is important, but at what expense, right? And when you start getting into that realm of I'm betraying myself, or I'm not being authentic in the relationship, I'm not creating opportunity for accountability to take place in a relationship, this creates a breakdown and definitely compromises the sense of safety in a relationship. On the other hand of things, you might have behaviors that are like, criticism and judgment, the silent treatment, stonewalling, blaming, or shaming your partner. These behaviors they sort of tip over into the side of too much power, not enough love and softness. And so what you want to be striving for and what you want to be mindful of is, how do I exercise a balance between the two, where I'm employing loving power every time I go into a conversation with my partner in which I need to, voice a complaint, make a request, address something that's bothering me, ask for something that I want. How can I communicate, and how can I bring an energy that has a balance of love and power at the same time? And why this is so important is, again, because when we can strike that balance, when we can be thinking, like I said in the last episode, relationally, when we can put on that relational mindset and be thinking, okay, my goal here is to advocate for myself powerfully and communicate lovingly so that I'm taking care of myself and my partner at the same time. I'm honoring my own desires, needs, preferences, while deeply cherishing my partner and their needs and their desires and their preferences alongside my own. And so when we're thinking in terms of loving power and we're asking ourselves, how can I enter into this interaction, this conversation, this conflict in a soft but powerful way, the relationship is going to be blessed by that, because you are avoiding those disconnecting mistakes. The mistake of either too much love, not enough power, right? Self-betrayal, self-neglect, of conflict avoidance, or too much power, not enough love, kind of being harsh, critical, demanding, maybe shaming, and just the behaviors that, are disconnecting because, you're really focusing on the self and self-advocacy at the expense of the needs of your partner. And so by prioritizing loving power, by continually striving to think relationally and seek that beautiful balance, you're going to be okay, better than okay. You're going to be able to create the beautiful relationship that I know you desire and deserve. A quote from Terry Real that I want to wrap up today's episode with and leave with you as a reminder. Terry says that there's nothing that harshness can do that loving firmness can't do better. Loving firmness being just another way of saying loving power or soft power. There's nothing that harshness can do that loving firmness can't do better. So the last why I'll leave you with that is reflected in that quote is that, to really get what you want and for your partner to get what they want and for the relationship to thrive, which is ultimately what I know you want, loving power is the best way. It's so much better than being harsh. It's certainly better than being avoidant. It's actually the best way. So that is all I have for you today. I'm really excited that I got to introduce you to this amazing concept. I hope that you will put it into practice. I'll be back again very soon with another golden nugget of wisdom from Dr. Terry Real in the next episode of Real Relationship Wisdom. In the meantime, please remember, you are wired for love and connection. You are capable of love and connection. You are worthy of love and connection.